Hi everybody, Louise Plant here with my 144 topics, and this week's topic is about who is in charge of your life. So this week's topic's really been initiated and instigated by just being mindful of how people are very good at giving their power away. And this is myself included. I've done this many times with many things. So I really just wanted to have a talk and a chat about, what does that mean when you're giving your power away? Like, what's that happening? So things that I've given my power away to have been past addictions. So cigarette smoking was a big one for me. Started smoking cigarettes from a very young age. And it's almost like every time you do that, you're actually giving your power away to that thing, to whatever it is, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, been there and done all that as well. Because you're actually not allowing yourself to be true to yourself. You're allowing yourself to use other substances to let yourself, feel more liberated or more relaxed or more happy, when the truth of the matter is that you actually have everything that you need to allow yourself to feel that way. So whatever feelings that you have, whatever endorphins get released, whatever neurotransmitters get released in your body, you have the ability to do that. So you have the ability to make yourself feel good. So, we then can get lost in the dependency of that, and I've done that, having an addictive personality. I was addicted to alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, on and off, and I'm still very mindful of that and allowing myself to not allow myself to give my power away to that. So I'm not saying that, don't drink, smoke, or do any of those things. Like, if they're things that you enjoy doing and they're things that make you feel good, then by all means you do whatever it is that you want to do to make yourself feel happy. Though just be mindful of when you're doing something and you're doing it to give your power away. So when I was exploring, the whole cigarette smoking thing, I was looking at, at what times do I grab a cigarette, and I did a little exercise for a week or so where I actually looked at every time I picked up a cigarette, what was the feeling that I was having at that time. And it tended to be things like frustration, overwhelm, I needed a break, or I needed time out, or a lot of overwhelm and frustration were primarily the feelings that came up there for me. So in that case, what I'm doing is I'm not actually processing and dealing or releasing that frustration or that overwhelm. I'm just basically reaching for a cigarette, or I'm reaching for a drink, or I'm reaching for something to numb that feeling. And what that actually does is suppress that feeling. So, the optimum thing is that, when we're children, we allow ourselves to express ourselves. We can have a little tatty, and we can have a little cry, and we can have a shout, and we can do whatever it is that we want to do. And we're really free at doing that. But then what happens is we become programmed by, parents, environments, society, peers, and we stop ourselves doing that. So, maybe it's a good idea that we do have a little tatty every now and again, or we do find a way to express that, because it's very important that we allow ourselves to express what we're feeling and to process that. So, in life, we're not really taught how to process what we're feeling. And I'm being very mindful at the moment. I'm writing one of my diaries at the moment, and the diary's about, turning grumpiness into happiness. And I'm being very mindful of society not actually enhancing that or teaching us how to do that. Society doesn't say, right, this is the tips and the rules and the whatever it is to be happy. And the reality is that, no matter what is out there, the only way that you're ever going to find these things is from inside. So back to the topic of who's in charge of your life, who's driving your life. So there are other ways that we can actually give our power away as well. We can do that when it comes to our physical health. We can do it when it comes to therapizing ourselves. And part of my belief and my movement is that you have everything that you need. Like, there is nothing broken, there is nothing wrong with you. You have every single thing that you need. And if you're able to learn ways and techniques to process what's happening for you, it's like you can just be so attuned to yourself and centered to yourself and connected to yourself that you know, like your intuition's very strong, you're very much guided to be doing the right things at the right time, you're meeting the right people. When I mean right, I don't mean right and wrong, but I mean, you know, the people that are going to inspire you. You're guided to be in places, you know, that are going to be for your highest and greatest good. So, you know, when we often go and see a therapist, is it a case of going in there and saying, okay, I have this problem, I want you to sort it out? Because the reality is that no one can sort your fucking shit out. Only you can sort your shit out. Only you can sort your problems out. And a lot of people might not want to hear this, but, you know, every single condition we have, every single problem we have with our health, you know, every disease that we have is something that we've created. It's something that we've manifested. And it's not something that we consciously do, but when you do start to explore your inner world, you start to be really mindful of the fact that how we can create scenarios and systems and things, you know, and you've only got to look at where things are happening in your body. That will give you an indication as to what it's about. You know, Louise Hay and the Barometer of Your Soul books are really great for this. I've mentioned this before about, you know, your feet carry you forward, your back support, neck might be rigidity, skin can be how you're, you know, how you're presenting yourself to the external world. And it's a book that I refer to all the time. This week I was referring it to in regards to hives and, you know, little things and little frustrations or little fears that are annoying you. So there's always a component to whatever's happening in your life. And it doesn't really matter what level you work on that, whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, emotional. But it's very easy to work on your own mental processes and your own physical processes and your own emotional processes. So really I sort of call that tidying things up, you know, like we might service our car, we might tidy up our house, but, you know, how many of us actually spend the time tidying up our internal life, our internal body, our internal world? So, you know, the thoughts that we have lead on to the beliefs that we have, you know, the feelings that we have, you know, can lead on to the behaviors that we have. You know, all these things are internal things that we are basically in control of. Like, it's your life, you're driving it, you're in the driving wheel. That might be hard for some people to hear, and, you know, I've been the ace victim, master victim, and have fallen into victimhood, you know, for a lot of my life, because I did feel that there was a point where, you know, I was a victim of my circumstances. But the only way that I ever was able to change that and to turn that around is to have some essence of responsibility and to say, do you know what? I'm driving my life. I'm sorting it out. And sometimes it's not easy to do that. Sometimes it's not an instantaneous thing that's happening, you know. You know, things have happened in my life where it's not been something that I've actually sorted out. It's instantaneously. It's just been a process of working through whatever it is that I need to work through. Though the more I am working on my inside world and my internal world, the more I'm learning easier and simple and faster ways to actually be able to do that. So this morning I was doing some self-exercises on the beach. So part of my lifestyle is that I love walking on the beach. I do a lot of self-talk. I do mantras. I rewire my programming in my brain. You know, I repeat things to myself. I release and let go of any energies or beliefs or feelings that are basically not serving me. And this morning I was looking and releasing the energy of being unsure, like unsure about what it is that I want. And just as I did that 5-minute process, not even that, 3-minute process, suddenly I had this feeling of certainty and strength, which is part of the reason I was motivated to do this talk, in the fact, like, yeah, you know, like, this is my life, this is what I'm doing, this is me making the choices about what I want to be happening in my life. So, you know, be mindful the next time that you go and see the doctor, or you go and see the therapist, or, you know, you're connecting with whoever it is that you're actually seeking help and assistance from, that you realize that, you know, these people are offering a service to you, and you have the choice. Like, you have the choice to whether you want to accept that. You have the choice whether you want to accept their opinion. You have the choice of whether you want to accept what they've got to say. And if you don't like that, then you also have the choice and the freedom to go and talk to somebody else, or go and see somebody else, or seek your support and your advice from other people. You don't have to listen to one person. So be mindful of situations where you take your power away. I have been in relationships and I've been in situations where, again, I've given my power away to people. I've been in situations where I've been fearful about saying what I want to say. And then when we become fearful about honouring our own truth and honouring and saying what it is that feels our truth for us, I'm not saying this is the truth, I'm saying this is the truth that's my truth for me, you're actually dishonouring yourself, and you're also sort of enabling dysfunction in the situation, because you're allowing, people to caretake you or control you or whatever else it is. So, as you learn to become stronger in your own internal world, and when I mean stronger, I don't mean tougher, I mean more courageous. So in the fact that you actually become more courageous about saying, you know what, I'm of value, and this is a boundary for me, or this is an important thing for me, this is a no-no, like I'm not crossing that line, this is where I feel comfortable, this is where I feel happy, and that's okay. Like, people can disagree with that, that's fine, but the reality is it's not their shit, okay? This is your life, it's your choice. And I have had people say to me, in close situations, well, it's all about you. It is really all about you. Like, your life is about you. It's about doing what you feel is right for you. It's about doing what feels good inside for you. It's about, following practices and lifestyles that make you feel healthy, that make you feel alive, that make you feel empowered. And it's never done in a disrespectful or a disconcerting way to other people. So you do tend to find that as you tend to grow more spiritually within yourself, and you become more aware and you become more connected to yourself, because remember, part of my message here is about being connected, it's about earthing yourself in, and it's about educating people. So as you become more connected and more earthed in who and what you are, as you become more spiritually aware, you will find that with that comes ethics, with that comes morals, and with that comes values. So it's not like you're ever wanting to do the power play thing with people anymore. It's just like you just want to get on with life and enjoy life. So be mindful of places where you're giving your power away. I'm finding that as I'm growing and connecting deeper to myself, like you guys are part of this journey, these weekly recordings that I do as part of you sharing my journey and my growth here in this. I'm finding that I don't even want to spend so much time on social media. I'm becoming more wanting to connect to people face to face. I'm wanting to have more quality connections with people. Like, that is not something that I'm pushing for or I'm wanting to achieve. It's just something that's naturally progressing, because I'm finding that, what I'm exposing myself to, what I'm listening to, what I'm having around me, is it taking my power away? Is it making me have questioned myself? Is it making me feel uncomfortable? And if it is, then why put yourself in that situation? So a good thing to do, is to give yourself the forgiveness. Louise, I forgive myself for putting myself in that situation, and I don't have to do it again. Like, I have choice. So know that, when it comes to who's driving your life, you are driving your life. If you're ever asked the question, who's the most important person in your life, it has to be you. And being a mother and spending 23 years of my life raising children, there are times when I would have said, my kids or my animals or whatever it is were most important things. But the bottom line is that we can't give people the quality, the presence, the connection and the love when it's messy on the inside. So the more you can be driving your life, the more you've got your hands on the steering wheel, the better that is. There will be in times in relationships where, we can have overwhelm, we can have trauma, we can have things happen to us. And this is where it's nice having a functional relationship where there is that 50-50, and you can sort of say, you know what, I need you to help just grab the steering wheel for a while, just while I have time out or wherever it is. And, you know, so there is give and take in connections and relationships with people, but we're going to save those for other topics. But right here and right now, you know, the purpose of this recording is really about you being in that driving wheel of your life. Like, you're not a victim of your circumstances. You create everything in your life. You create the connections, you create the reality of what's happening for you. And the more clear that you come on the inside, the clearer you become, the more illuminated you become by life, the more illuminated you become by people, the faster you manifest things into life. And it's almost like, you know, you've got these particles of creation that you're bringing together, and you're creating and molding life just the way you want to do it. So this week, be in the driving wheel. Just be mindful of when you are letting go of that driving wheel. Just be mindful of when you're giving your power away. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but just for now, just be mindful of that. You know, at what point are you feeling yourself giving that power away? It happened to me at the weekend, and I just was mindful of it. Okay, there's not much point beating yourself up about it or getting grumpy or shitty about it, but just be mindful of, like, okay, that was a point there that I choose to give my power away, and I just said, you know what, too hard or overwhelm or whatever it was that was happening for you at the time. And if you can actually be mindful of that, then you're going to be mindful of when these situations arise and when there is the potential there that you can have the same things happen again, and you can be giving your power away. So yeah, whether it's people, whether it's habits, whether it's events, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, just be mindful of when you're giving your power away. And the aim here is to allow yourself just to stay connected and centered and happy and all the rest of it. So if you ever want a hand or any help, I do one-on-one sessions with people. Feel free to contact me. I can talk you through quite a few different processes and exercises that I've accumulated over the years, just to allow yourself to let go of the resistance, just to clear that energy and just to clear that flow within you, so you just sort of feel like you can be floating along through life, creating what you want when you want it, as opposed to resisting and pushing and all the other stuff that we do in life. Okay, and life can become cleaner, clearer, crisper, brighter and happier. So until then, I will catch you around next time, and seeing you always in happiness and health. Look after yourselves and be kind to yourself. You take care. Bye.